The transformation constraint is a super handy one that you might find yourself using in many different situations. Your mind is only really going to limit you in this instance, but it's basically where we can turn one thing and transform it into another. So for example, we can take a translation of our target and turn it into a rotation on our owner. Or vice versa, we can take a rotation and turn it into a translation. And we also don't need to change it either. We could take, say, a small scale, for example, and make it a bigger scale with this same constraint. It is super flexible. So let's get about setting it up. So I'll just add my transformation constraint on my owner. It's already gone ahead and added these things. I'm going to change the space over to be local and local, just so that it's aligned with our bones here. And the information we're concerning ourselves with is this little drop down here called map from and map to. You can think about this as where it's getting its information from, or the target, and where it's mapping it to, or the owner. So we can take a location, a rotation, and a scale, and we can map it to a location, a rotation, or a scale. So for this little demo, I'm going to move our target along the Y axis, and I'm going to turn that into a Z rotation around here on our bone here. So how do I do that? Well, first of all, we're going to map the location over to a rotation. And what axes are we talking about? This is our target bone. I'm going to say from -1 to +1. That's the range it's going to use for our target information. And then I want to change that into be a rotation. Now here's where it's kind of worded a little bit differently to the rest of Blender. It's saying X source, Y source, and Z source. But then you can actually change these values over here. Now, it's easy to forget which one is which. So the way I try and remember it is the ones that you can't change, these ones that are hard-coded here, the source values, this is the owner information. It's the map to, and we can actually change where it's getting its information from. What we're trying to do in this example is we're trying to change the Z rotation, which is our Z source, and we want to get that information from our Y channel on our target. So we need to tell it to use the Y channel there. And then we give it a specific range. So let's just go -90 for the minimum and then 90 for the maximum. And you'll notice this one says Y as well. We can actually make all of them say Y as well if we want. But because they're left at 0, it's going to have 0 effect. So that's just worth bearing in mind. So now when I move this, I'll just bring up my move tool here. When I move it in the local Y axis, you see our owner is moving in the +Z. And when we go in the opposite direction, it's going in the -Z. Now, if I go above our value of 1 meter that we set, you'll notice that our bone stops. The same, if we go down here, you'll notice that our bone stops once it hits -1. If we want it to extrapolate that value, we can hit this little button here. And now when it goes past that, it's going to just keep going forever. It's going to take those values and extrapolate them. And that's a really handy feature as well. Here is our rotation order, and that's going to decide which one it does first, the X, Y, and the Z. You can just leave it at default. And with this constraint, we also have our little mix menu here. The default is add, so you still will be able to rotate our target there, but you can tell it to replace, so then we won't be able to do that. And then the before and after, it'll be the order in which it calculates the local transformations or the constraint first. And that is our transformation constraint. It's super handy, and we will be using it in a fun little exercise later in the course.